Good evening, everybody. Welcome. I'm Steve Powell. I'm here to talk about my solo debut CD, American Composers at Play. And you're on a segment of Meet the Composers, where I talk with each of the four composers featured on the CD. Tonight, I am honored and humbled to have illustrious pianist and composer John Musto. John, welcome.
Hi. Hi, folks. Hi, everyone.
I'm going to list, if you don't mind, and you can correct me if I get any of this wrong, some of your great accomplishments. You were a Pulitzer Prize finalist in '97 for Dove sta Amore, a soprano and chamber orchestra piece. You are a recipient of the American Academy of Arts and Letters Award, and I think it was the same year, was it not, as Wynton Marsalis?
Yeah, we sat next to each other in the ceremony.
Well, that's kind of cool company to be
He
in.
was also the winner of the Pulitzer Prize in that year when I was a finalist.
All right, so now we don't like him as much.
He's okay.
No, he's okay. Well, still, that's great company to be in. Fantastic. And I wanted to ask you about these 2 Emmy Awards and 2 Council on the Non-Theatrical Events Awards. What were those for?
On the Non-Theatrical Events Award?
Yeah, the Council on Non-Theatrical, CINE, C-I-N-E.
Oh, those are more documentary. I never knew what those letters stood for.
Council on Non-Theatrical Events. Yeah, I had to look it up. I wasn't sure.
I did several documentary scores during the 90s. I worked for public television. I did a couple of things for HBO.
I mean, you have a vast art song catalog. You've written 4 operas, pieces for orchestra and chamber orchestra, 2 piano concertos, which I think you premiered. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I premiered one in April of '06 and the other one in July of '06.
And before we came on to talk, I was thinking about how you and I had first met. And honestly, I think it was through your wife, Amy, through singing at New York City Opera. So when I approached you about playing, and also, of course, including songs on this CD, I wasn't quite sure how you'd react.
Of course, I thought it was a great project, and we would finally get something. We would do something together, and I would just walk down the block to my alma mater.
I made it as easy as I could for you, John.
Yeah, and I thank you for that.
I was looking out for you.
Yeah, I'm sure the whole thing was planned around that.
Yeah, exactly. When I was looking for repertoire, I was hoping to find some things that had not been recorded. And I was sort of delighted because obviously this CD is about American poetry as well. And to find the father of American poetry, Robert Frost, with 2 songs that you composed that hadn't been recorded, it was like a gold mine for me.
They kind of sat around in the closet they were published, but.
Can you remember the genesis of those 2 songs and how they came to fruition?
Yes, I wrote them, and it was when I had just met Amy, and we met, and she left. And so while she was on the road, I sent those songs to her.
Nature's first green is gold. Her hardest hue to hold. Her early leaves a flower, but only so an hour. Then leaf subsides to leaf. So Eden sank to grief. So dawn goes down to day. Nothing gold can stay. is a rose and was always a rose. But the theory now goes that the apple's a rose and the pear is, and so's the plum. I suppose the dear only knows what will next prove a rose. You, of course, are a rose, but were always a rose.
Would you say, I mean, I think probably you were a pianist first and composing came a little later, but could you?
Oh, yeah, I was a pianist first. When I was growing up, I actually played a lot more guitar than I did piano.
Wow.
But I got very serious when I went to college. I went to conservatory. I went to Manhattan School. Worked very hard. You know, I was doing a lot of playing different instruments in bands and clubs and doing cabaret. And the old cabaret play, they're all gone now, like Reno Sweeney's. But I did work with songwriters and arranged for them and arranged for the band and things like that. I was doing a lot of pop music. And I finally kind of honed in on, you know, getting serious about playing the piano. I don't know, at some point, you know, I always loved reading poetry. So poetry led to my writing my first songs. And it just took off from there. I mean, my dad was a jazz guitarist and he played a lot of time. He played club dates. He had way back when he had a trio, Italian trio. He played all the Italian tools, Malavemina and all that stuff. In 3-part harmony, he played guitar. There was a bass player who had a big booming baritone voice and accordion player. And that was their trio. They were called the Make Believes.
Ah, that's great.
And they toured the Catskills and they played all, you know, everywhere. They played a lot of mob places, actually.
Well, I guess you would, right? I mean,
we met a few. My year older than I am brother, who is an MD, but he plays a hellacious piano and guitar. We used to, you know, we were kind of a duo.
Oh, that's awesome.
Growing up, and we played both instruments, and you know, and I picked up some banjo, and I picked up some this, and you know what? There was a point where, you know, you're a musician, and you just, if you're good with instruments, you just play whatever people throw money at you for. So we had pop music in the house, we had standards in the house, we had Beethoven sonatas in the house, we had everything.
So you really had a great household, a great upbringing in music from the family. The next set of songs that I propose to you that I would like to sing are a set of songs entitled Enough Rope by Dorothy Parker. And I remember when I first broached the subject with you about singing these songs, you had never envisioned them as a man singing them.
I had written them, you know, it never occurred to me because the way I had conceived them, they were Dorothy Parker and written originally for soprano. And I just always envisioned a woman singing them, that's all. And in fact, they work perfectly fine, perfectly well for a man. It just, it never, whenever I've played them, it was always been with women.
Does that inform the way you write for, I mean, not the key that you choose necessarily, but the voice type, your composition, or is that just about setting the text?
I mean, it does hinge a little bit on voice type, especially when you're writing for, a soprano in her upper register can do things. These songs don't go up into those, registers.
Yeah, thankfully. When you hear someone sing these pieces or any of your pieces not in the original key, does that bother you as a composer at all?
No, I think it's fun. It bothers me when I have to learn it in a different key.
Because it's in your fingers already.
Yeah, and also some of the songs are rather athletic for the pianist. You can't just say, oh, I'm going to knock them down minor third for, you have to really have to feel it at the keyboard and see if it's actually doable.
Well, the key I chose to sing it in didn't seem to be a problem for you because you played it so beautifully, especially the first song, Social Note, which I think you were referring to as, that's not an easy song to play.
Yeah, that kind of skitters along.
Lady, lady, should you meet one whose ways are all discreet, one who murmurs that his wife is the lodestar of his life, one who keeps assuring you that he never was untrue, never loved another one. Lady, 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 better run.
The second song I'd love to discuss in the Enough Rope cycle is Resume. Now, the subject matter in this piece is pretty serious. It deals in a humorous way with suicide, which we know Dorothy Parker, I believe, attempted twice in her life.
I believe twice.
Twice, yeah. But it's amazing that she could have been in that situation and written a poem like this and treated such a serious subject with humor. And you said it in a very jazzy sort of blues texture and harmony. How did that come to you?
It has all to do with the personality of Dorothy Parker and her very dry wit. I came to know these poems because the dedicatee, Pamela Katz, was a high school friend of Amy's and still is one of our dearest friends. She's a writer and author, and gave me a first edition of Dorothy Parker's poems.
Oh, wow.
For a gift. And Pam has the same very dry wit. So that's kind of the atmosphere that I got from that poem.
No, I think it's brilliant. I had such fun singing it. And it's a little gem, They're all little gems. They're just so perfectly constructed. But that's fun to sing with the feel, the bluesy, really less strict in a sense, rhythmically. That we sort of played with that. You actually coached me that way to sing it and take a little more time and go easy with it, and I think we got that.
Jesus pain you, rivers are damp.
Tricky thing when you're dealing with a popular genre, that it's a line you have to tread to not go too far and yet get the flavor of what that is. This particular one is the blues,
Yeah.
And you just, you sing the blues, you got it. You know the blues. You're an American.
Razors pain you, rivers are damp, acids stain you, and drugs cause cramp. Guns aren't lawful, nooses give. Gas smells awful. You might as well
John, when I was looking up recordings of Enough Rope, I often found the third song left out.
I mean, it doesn't have to be a set. It's not any kind of a cyclical or bound together by any kind of compositional glue. But I think singers, they say, oh, here are two really funny songs, we'll do those.
Oh, and then the third one's a bummer.
Yes.
So let's leave it out. The way you set the piano, I mean, it's just, I don't know how you wouldn't want to do the third one.
Well, you did it.
I did it. That's right. And we recorded it, and I think it's fantastic. Here's the third song of Enough Rope, The Sea.
Who lay against the sea